Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Lauren.
And of course, this is Ken.
And we are Paradise After Dark.
Dark.
And this is Off Topic.
Off topic.
And Uncut.
Wow.
Wow.
This has been a little bit of definitely an awakening.
Yes.
Did I say that right? Awakening?
Awakening.
Sorry, my hillbilly kicks in every now and then when I try to jumble words together. Fortunately, Lauren speaks hillbilly, so it's good.
So yeah, it's here we are. It's been a while. It's been a minute.
It has been a long while. It's been kind of a crazy road, honestly.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. But we're back now, and we have
To some degree. Let's jump.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to massage our way into this. We can't just jump in. I mean, the water's still a little chilly.
Yes. Okay.
To give you some idea of how chilly the water is, we're in here like trying to figure out how to record and if the microphones work and does this. We like had to put the whole place together again.
Yeah.
It's like Humpty Dumpty in here.
It is.
So it took all the king's horses and all the king's men tonight
To put Paradise After Dark back together again.
Exactly.
Well, here we are. So, we are coming back slowly but surely. We feel like we owe our listeners a little bit of an explanation. And I think that you might forgive us for disappearing for a while once you hear what's been going on. I guess maybe I'll start.
Sure, if you'd like to.
Last year, my father was very sick and passed away in March of last year. So I've kind of been going through that. And also, we have started our nonprofit, the Florida Themis Project. So I have really been putting a lot of my time and effort into that, and also helping Ken with his stuff.
Well, I think you need to clarify, a little bit. It wasn't that, Lauren's father got sick. I mean, a lot of people, you think that, and it just, and he, yes, in fact, did pass away, but there was a lot of lead up to that. So there was a lot of times where Lauren was going up there to help spend time with him. And then during the course of that, her mother got hurt. And so she was up there taking care of her mother while her father was sick. And, if you listen to Lauren's other podcast, you'll know that he was in a wheelchair. So it was hard because they live in St. Augustine and it was tough for her to travel back and forth. We tried one time to do sort of a podcast. I don't know how these guys do it remotely because we tried it. We just didn't have the chemistry. It wasn't good. It wasn't the product that we like to put out. And Lauren can vouch to that because she spends a lot of time editing. So I think, it's not just a matter of, sorry about that. It took a lot of stress, obviously. And, that's kind of what we're covering. What we're doing here is, we're always try to be victims advocates. You always try to look at it from the victim's point of view. And that's kind of what we do. So when, it's easy enough to really sit here and talk about it and want to do something. But when you're in the middle of it and something like that's happening, it's really tough because it wears on you emotionally, physically. So I don't want Lauren to discount it that, her father just got sick. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went into it. You were probably 7-8 months of working, and trying to be there for everybody. And it was just tough to do the stuff remotely. Not to mention, she wasn't having a great time. And, during the course of all of that, then the company that I work for, the guy that I've worked for since I was 16 years old, he passed away. So he got sick. His was rather fast. So I had to seriously step up my role at work. So just as Lauren was starting to come back and we're starting to, get our normal lives back together again, this tragedy hit me. So 2024 sucks.
Yeah, 2024 can
sucks.
just fuck right off.
It's funny that we say that like that, because Lauren and I we've always talked about even years just were always so weird. The only even year I think was really good for us was 2018, when we kind of, came together and we decided to start this venture.
Yeah.
So in the podcast aspect, the even years were pretty good, but for the most part, they just kind of suck. And so 2024, like she said, can just fuck right off.
Yeah, well, and then you had to step up in the role, and then I put a lot of my stuff aside and stepped into a role to help you.
Absolutely.
So now we're working together and podcasting together and living together.
Yeah, it's full circle, but fortunately, I mean, it's one of those things, when
it's a good
we
thing.
Get along.
It's a good thing we're best friends.
No kidding, right? I mean, but best friends, I still, there's times where I still want to, do the Homer Simpson tour, just put my hands on her neck and choke her, and I'm sure that feeling is mutual, but so yeah, it's been kind of an experience. I want to say roller coaster, for lack of a better term, because there were ups and downs, but I'll be honest, we didn't really hit much ups, and we're starting to finally get to that position now, you think?
Yes, things are definitely smoothing out, and I feel like we are able to come back. Well, one of the problems was for me is I'm not going to put out a shitty project. I'm not a product. I'm very serious about Paradise After Dark. I'm very serious about our episodes. I'm very serious about researching thoroughly and making sure that the facts are correct and that we come across correct and that we practice empathy. And going through all that personal stuff, I just didn't have it in me to do the research, to put everything together, to edit. So now I feel like I'm back there. I can resume. We can resume Paradise After Dark the way we want it to be. We wouldn't want to put anything that was subpar to what we stand for and what we're trying to do. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we are working with our nonprofit, the Florida Themis Project, and that's really been picking up. And what you're going to hear from us is a lot of the cases we are featuring with our nonprofit are definitely going to be episodes of Paradise After Dark. That's how we're starting out. And then...
Well, do you want to explain how that works? Like, we cover one case monthly?
So with the Florida Themis Project, every month we pick a cold case or a missing person and we feature them. We do a big public awareness campaign. We do a big social media push. We have gotten together with our local Crime Stoppers. We've gotten billboards put up. We've gotten the news stations to do stories on it. And now we're going to start releasing an episode every month on whatever case the Themis Project is featuring that month. And
so basically, we can guarantee at least one episode a month right now. And then obviously, if there's something comes up, you're going to hear from us.
Right.
I think that one thing we're going to try to do is at least do maybe like an off-topic, if an off-topic theme, which you're hearing now, where that's going to be, if something comes up in the news, we can cover a little bit of that. So if people that turn to us sometimes for information, that we're going to put that back out there.
Right. We've got like I said, we've got a lot going on with the Themis Project. One of our board members, Mindy, and I, we just attended Advocacy Con in Indianapolis, and that was amazing. We made a lot of great contacts, and we've had several families start to reach out to us for help. So we're going to have a lot going on there, and we may even be able to release more stuff.
Yeah, and you got to understand, I mean, when Lauren was there, she was calling me in the evening and texting me, and I mean, she was literally just an emotional ball of tears because she
It was heavy. It was a heavy event.
Talk about some of the, just real quick, and I'm not, obviously we don't spend a whole ton of time here because we're going to actually put together an episode tonight. So
yes.
Do you want to just kind of talk about some of the speakers that were there and what your thoughts were on AdvocacyCon?
Well, like I just said, it was a heavy event. It was for victims advocates, and there was a lot of victims there. Beth Holloway, Natalie Holloway's mother, put on a presentation. Nikki Schmidt and oh God, I'm drawing a blank.
That's okay.
Gabby Petito's mom and stepmom put on a presentation about grief and grieving their loved ones. I had some conversation with Julie Murray. I had some conversation with Becky Patty. If you've listened to our podcast, you know who these people are. And I learned quite a bit. I learned quite a bit about being a victims advocate. I got a lot of ideas on things that we can do with the Themis Project, which I'm really excited about implementing some new things that we can do. And I got a lot of perspective from family members of the missing and the murdered and the cold cases. It was a really good experience. It was heavy, but it was a really good experience, and definitely want to go again next year.
Good. Yeah, it was Indianapolis. It was in Indianapolis. I don't know if it'll be in the same place next year.
No, next year it's in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Ooh, that's different. Maybe I can go to that one.
Maybe. Yeah, it would be great if you could come. And
she wanted me to go this time, but I'm still trying to finalize stuff. It was just the timing was wrong with tax time and all that.
And a huge shout out to Eric, Whitney, and Melissa for putting that on. Awesome job.
Yeah, they put together a pretty good product from what I understand from the people I've talked to, and obviously Lauren and Mindy when they went.
But on another thing, on a kind of a better note is, well, I never really mentioned it because I never thought it would really come to fruition. But for the last 3 years, I have been writing a book, and it's being published, and it will be out this summer. So
standing O with a golfer's clap.
So I'll talk a little bit more about that when the time gets closer, but I'm very excited. It's something like I said, I've been working on a long time, and it's part memoir, part true crime. I'll give you more details when the time gets closer, but that's also been taking up a lot of my time and what I've been focusing on.
One of the things that I think is so great about the book is that it allowed you to stay within the realm of what you like to do, which is advocacy and the podcast and, some of the cases we've covered. But it's also helped fill your mind to get you through some of the hardships from last year, which was good.
Right, yeah.
So it kind of filled those gaps. But I will tell you, she says it took 3 years. If I'm going to write that book, it would have taken me about 6 months, but then I would have put out a turd. But of course, Lauren has reread it and gone over it and added this and added that. So her small book turned out to be a big book just because she wanted to make sure that all the details were there. And so I'm pretty proud of her for that. So I'll let her brag about it whenever the time is right. But I think that's pretty awesome.
So, in a nutshell, we really just wanted to come on here and be honest with you guys, our listeners. We didn't forget about you. We still appreciate every single one of you that listens. And, if you're still around, if you're still following and you get, and this, hits your ear balls,
as they say,
maybe give it a share. Help us gain some momentum that we lost during our hiatus. That would be great. And
yeah, the ones that have been there since the beginning, thanks for all your support from the beginning till the end. And again, the explanation should have come sooner. We were aware of that, but we tried a couple times and it without melting down, it made it a little tough.
Yes. So here, this off topic and uncut, raw emotion, truth.
sometimes it be like that sometimes.
It'd be like that
That's
sometimes.
what they say, so.
But you know what? We've got a lot coming up. We are going to CrimeCon this year in Denver. I do not know if we're going to have a table or not, but we will be there either way. And like I said, I got a book coming out this summer. So we've got a lot of things coming up, and there will be episodes forthcoming. So thanks for sticking with us. And we look forward to getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this all the way to this point, we want to thank you for listening
to Paradise After Dark.
Dark, 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 dark.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.